What's going on, guys? It's Belair here. Europe is upon us. The major region, as it were. Although I will say, North America was very exciting, wasn't it? I put out a video the other day about some of my thoughts from Open Four from North America. But let's do some predictions for Europe. Why don't we? I'm just chomping at the bit. I want to get ahead of it, and let's go through this. As always, we got the handy dandy legal pad here. So let's walk through some of these matchups. Tell you guys how I think these are going to go, and talk about how our group Swiss went. What some of these teams were looking like statistically in split one. All right, let's dive in. We're going to start with honestly a pretty intriguing matchup here between Ninjas and Pajamas and 100%. Ninjas went 3-0 in Group Swiss and took down a gauntlet. They beat Karmine Core, they beat Gentlemates, and they beat GK as well. A great three teams to beat here as you head in. Split one, NIP were top three in offense in Europe, in my opinion, when you look at goals for, shots for. They were third or fourth. They were like fractionally different than GK there, who, of course, came on in that open three, kind of skews the numbers a little bit there. But like a 0.02 difference in those stats with GK. So an offense that can really hum. And their issue was just to boil it down, big moments, the best of sevens, being able to show up against teams that you want to beat there for those major spots. They play a clean style, few demos in Ninjas and Pajamas, and 100% is the exact opposite. Solid defense, very, very physical, like 4.5 demos per game for that 100% team, which is Acro, Rezi, and Louis P, of course. Almost 6 saves per game. Louis P and Rezi were top 5 in split one in saves per game. So Ninjas have their work cut out for them here, but I think they're coming in hungry. They're coming in looking to prove that they are a major contending team, and I think it's just going to be a little too much for 100% here. We are going to go 3-1 in that victory. 100%, by the way, these two teams played once last split, by the way, and the difference was massive. The shot differential for Ninjas, 100% lost to Vitality and BSK, who we're going to talk about in a little bit here. Exciting young team there. I just think Ninjas are in better form coming into this with more to prove, and I ultimately think that they're the better team. All right, Smoky Bacon Association versus Karmine Core. This is Smokes, Compact, and Matane. Is that right? Smokes, Compact, Matane. Smokes split one with Redemption. That was Cash's team before he retired, and then came back to be right here with Tokyo Tigers, and also Toxic, who goes to join Alcatsia in Mina there, who looked pretty good in Mina Open 4 for what it's worth. Compact, fast forward, played with Team Belgium for FIFA E this offseason, might be what you know him from. And then our third, of course, is Matane, who that start point roster fractures with Eugen, of course, going to Gentlemates. A Chronic joined Cash ATM with Matt from Ascend and Tempo. And they were they weren't even a top 32 team, unfortunately. They missed out on this one. And so, pretty solid roster here. They beat TSK. They beat Lirili, who is that's Vadi's team, I'm pretty sure, and then Pickup FC, a young team that I sneaky kind of like. That's got Goffs, Ethan, and Day Shift, who's this like 15-year-old German player who I think is pretty good. But they played all those teams really close. Those were all 3-2 victories. So I just think Karmine Core are mad. They go 9-0 after they lost to NIP. So I think this is going to be a pretty dominant 3-0 here. All right, Vitality versus Dopamine. You guys all know Vitality. Dopamine is KDOP, Astral, and Reese Fox. Exciting young team. Of course, you got the 26-year-old three-timer in KDOP, Astral. Man, if you're new to the game and you want just like a history lesson is to it sounds like I'm like talking down, but like if you want to go like Astral from like season 9 to even like the world championship I went to 22-23 when he was on Carmine Core, Astral was just nasty on the ball for a really long time, was a real problem, and kind of just faded out of teams after Moist did not go super well with that Joyo and was it Joyo and Juicy who were that Moist roster with Astral? I can't recall because there were so many iterations of Moist. No, it was with Rise, and then Rise left, and then um, I don't know. I'm getting my timeline messed up. I'm pretty sure it was Juicy, for what it's worth. But since then, Astral kind of has entered into a different part of his career, kind of Carmelo Anthony adjacent, I suppose, in the way that it's gone here. But Reese Fox, you want to talk about somebody who has a lot of teammates that I really liked over his career. He's played with, and I could have left somebody out. Of course, KDOP and Astral, Sazen, Metzer, Shawset 45, Rizex, and he only has one top 8 with that RRG squad from Split 1 with Rizex and with Goffs there. So good to see Dopamine here. Don't think that this is going to be where they are going to show out. I think Vitality are going to crush them. Thank you, Ad Blocker. This YouTube video is sponsored by Ad Blocker. I don't think that this is going to be where they're going to turn it around here. Yeah, let's not waste too much time on it. Let's talk about Fast Forward versus Atom Unity. This is Velocity, Vorseful, and Nugget. Vorseful is new to me. Velocity and Nugget were they're both think they both live in the UK, and they were playing in SSA last split or last season rather. Nugget was on that Young Money clan that ended up getting, didn't they get like DQ'd or something for like trying to throw an SSA match? I can't remember. And then Velocity was on a team too. It was called like the Goats or something similar to that. Look, if you're not winning SSA matchups, but that being said, they eke it out here. This is the first EU main event for all 3 of them. But then on the other side, we have Fast Forward, which is Mike Boy, Eshby, and Grally. 3 guys that I kind of like. And they beat 3 round 5 Swiss teams to make it here. So I think they're coming in as the stronger team. We're going to go 3-2 just because, I don't know, it seems like Fast Forward like to play people kind of close, and Atom Unity, who knows? You know what? Let's change this to a 3-1. All right. Let's just do our whole group A, why don't we? And then we'll move over to group B. It's just easier to move the camera around. 100% versus Smoky Bacon Association. Look, they're going to drop one up top, but I think this 100% team is really good. They narrowly missed out on, they were in major contention heading into Open 3 there. I think that Rezi, he made my top 50 player list. I think he's very good. Acro, another player who never plays ranked 2s, but somehow was at like 0.9 goals per game or something crazy like that. And then Louis P, he's like a Hoxer of Europe kind of player where it was like, I guess that career is kind of over. And then he turns it around and is still on some winning rosters here. Excellent kickoff team. I like this Smoky Bacon Association roster. I'm pretty sure that team, I don't have it written down here, but Matein's on the roster and Smokes. I think this is Andy the Mandy is coaching. I like Smoky Bacon Association. This is 2 very good teams. I think both of these teams would beat both of these 2 teams down here for what it's worth. Dopamine, I have 3-2 over Atom Unity. I don't have too much to say. These players are new to me. Although, do I have anything? No. By Atom Unity and Smoky Bacon Association. You guys are better than this result. That's how it goes. All right, let's move over to Group B. Dignitas versus Tokyo Tigers. Look, Dignitas went 9-0 in Group Swiss. It's not like they were doing the same thing that Ninjas were. They beat Novo Esports, who's that all-Italian roster. They beat Gentleman's? No, that's not right. They beat BDS 3-0, the New Look BDS team down here, and then they also beat Atom Unity, who we just eliminated. Tokyo Tigers Cash retired and then he came back for this roster. It's with Grumma and Pluvo. And Grumma was on that arrogant roster, excuse me, that arrogant roster from Split 1 with Davoof and Mozzarella. Mozzarella now on this BSK roster that we're going to talk about in a second here with Rusty's and Pisky. Um, Good for Tokyo Tigers to make it here. They had to reverse sweep the Swiss to even qualify for our top 16. A good result. I just think that this Dignitas team are really good, especially in matchups like this. I don't think that they're dropping this. If they see GK, who we're going to talk about in a bit here, if they see a Vitality, Karmine Core, Ninjas, those are going to be competitive series. But I think Dignitas handles business against teams like that. And by the way, Cash like retired and came back for this. I'm excited for him. Like I'm excited for everybody to do what they want. Hopefully this is a rejuvenated split for him here. I even know last split when I was putting out those things that I would put on Twitter where it's like how many ranked twos games are these players playing. Cash was the lowest out of like all 48 players that were participating in like Open 5 and Open 6. He was like, I don't even think he was SSL, and he was like under 200 games. So, yeah, cool for him to stick around. I thought the Cannon back on those like Quadrant and Moist days, maybe it was Cash who was on that Astral team. It doesn't matter. But the Cannon was a serious threat, and he's in a different point of his career. But not everything in life is about Rocket League. Seems like he has a lot of good stuff going for him. Excited that Cash is still making top 16s here. All right, enough giving Cash some flowers. Let's talk about GK versus BSK. GK, they beat Nomster, who I kind of like. It's a Jelly Shark, and they picked up Yukio. Um, but that's like a hey, like that's a 13 through 16 top 16 team if they make it there. They beat Nomster, they beat Dopamine, who we talked about. That's that KDAP roster. They lost to Ninjas in Group Swiss, but I watched it back. They had some good chances. Like there was like a pass I remember where Archie feeds it into the middle. Oli's there. The pass is a little too strong because you got to beat the defender. Oli tries to get back to it. That's a crossbar dinging out. Just like they had some chances. Joyo going full field and can't put it away. I don't know. Edit Tim had put out like recaps, and I went back before this just to watch and see what that looked like. And yeah, GK were there even though they got beat by Ninjas. BSK we talked about. This is that Rusty's 95 Mozzarella and Pisky team. Their coach is Econ, I'm pretty sure, who was like around like that like top 16ish range for a long time when he was playing. Pisky was Whiskey Drink, and I'm not going to do that every time that we do these, but I remember for like two splits, I was like, who's Pisky? And then it was Whiskey Drink. And I was like, oh my God. And Whiskey Drink was either on that like Gross Noobs or like Aogiri, like kind of like fun, interesting European teams from like a season ago. Rusty's is cold. Um, I really like his game a lot. There's somebody on Twitter, his name's like Bubble or something like that, and he put up this little like highlight package from Rusty's. He's gross. He really is. And I like Mozzarella too. Watched some replays of them during the in between after Birmingham there. But GK is GK. They're gonna handle business here. We're gonna go 3-1. All right, Synergy versus BDS. Synergy, Dorito, AJG, and they pick up Rizex, who I've always been a Rizex fan. This BDS team, they go round 5, but they're good. This is 2/3 of Ascend, right? This is Nico and Juke from Ascend, and now Matt's on that Cash ATM team with a Chronic and Tempo, like we talked about. And then they pick up. Please don't do this, Belair. I know that you know this. We'll come back to who their third is in just a second. It's just because I'm there trying to think of it that I can't. Have you guys ever seen? I don't watch a lot of Billy on the Street, but there's this one bit where he runs up to people and he's like frantic and runs up on the street and he's like, name any woman, and people are like, you're so thrown because of the situation that you can't name a single woman. And that's what I feel like here with this situation, because I know the BDS roster. I've looked at them a billion times. I've watched them play. I know this. I've just been stalling so I could think of Metzer, who's their third from Save the Game and the coach's extra, and Astral, the connective tissue of the RLCS. Really interesting matchup because this Synergy team, like, they're not super fast. And this BDS team is young, mechy, and fast. Synergy, I think they beat BSK in the group Swiss. And it's just one of those teams where it's like a nine lives. Like, you can be as mechanical as you want to be, but if you're going to mess up small things, they're going to punish you. And this is the kind of matchup this is going to be. I actually, when I first did this exercise, had this 3-2 Synergy who had a good group Swiss. And BDS was, up and down a little bit. They beat the teams they needed to. I think they beat like, TSK and like these teams where it's like, all right, good win, which is like the Hider and Scream team there. Um, I'm gonna pick BDS. I think it's a strong roster, and if they don't win this, I won't be shocked, just because this Synergy team is like really smart and good, and they're one of those teams that will beat you if you're not playing really well. Also, like, this is a big opportunity for BDS, right? Day one, open one, new big org, a lot of eyeballs, new roster, a lot of pressure for a young team. So I wouldn't be shocked if they lose this, but I'm going to pick them to win it. And then finally, JJ Rocks, our Spanish All Stars, going up against the new look Gentlemates here. This is Mark by 8, Stake. Stake, one of the few KBM players that we still have at a high level with like Torsauce and Drufinio. Um, and then Rye, but it could be Rixie. I've heard it said both ways over the course of his career, who had a pretty good Swiss. They beat like Cloud Esports, which is that Mako and Ever team that Rusty's left. But Gentlemates, I'm gonna pick them here. I'm gonna pick them 3-1. Um, of course, everybody Gentlemates is talking about Eugen, the new big pickup for Radosin. This is a series where like Eugen just could be like insert random standard RLCS Pro. Like, Seiko and Juicy should be beating a team like JJ Rocks in round one of groups. And with the addition of Eugen, I think they're even stronger. They should win this series. Okay, let's did we round this out? Oh, remember I said I was going to do all of it and then I didn't. So let's go ahead and finish Group A off. Why don't we? Let me go. I have my cheat sheet up here because I did this before. I'm going to go 3-2 to Karmine. This could be 3-1. This could be 3-0. I would be surprised if Ninjas win this. Of course, they punch them in the mouth in our group Swiss there. I just don't think Karmine Corps are losing to the same team twice in an event. I just don't see it happening. Of course, with all of this stuff, once you win an event and look as dominant as they did, but more specifically, once you win a major, you come back and it's like you just pick them against everybody because like they're the best in the world right now. But with this Karmine Corps team in particular, I just think that they're gonna walk into this matchup and look to get revenge. So I'm gonna go 3-2, and then Vitality going up against Fast Forward. I like Fast Forward. They're kind of one of those teams where like if you sneak into a top 8, you're like, awesome, like great result for us. I think that Vitality is gonna win this. I also think that Vitality are showing up to this event like kind of upset. I think that they're gonna really crush some teams here. So I have them going 6-0 to qualify for our top 8. Fast Forward in 100%. The curse of falling down here, fast forward, are going to lose to our 100% team who are going to qualify. And then I'm going to have ninjas taking out their frustration on Dopamine, who fall asleep just outside the top 8. Well done, Belair. All right, let's go over to Group B and finish up. And let me swap over on my cheat sheet here to see what I had put. This is a contentious matchup with a lot of history. I talked about this one with Nick, GK's coach, when he came on my Need Boost podcast a couple of weeks ago here, just about this Dignitas roster. I think Dignitas are very upset with the way that the round 5 ended for them at Birmingham when they lost to this GK team and they fell apart at the seams. I think they're going to come out and try and mosh this GK team right here. So I'm going to have Dignitas rolling through. Although it's 3-1, I think it's going to be a pretty tight matchup. GK could win this. That's a matchup that could go either way just because of all of the chapters that are kind of within the confines of that metaphorical book there. And then Gentlemates are going to 3-2 BDS. This Ascend core for BDS here were the Doomsday Device for Gentlemates in Split 1. 2 losses in big spots that really sent Gentlemates Split careening there. I think that they're going to want some revenge. And also, I just think that they're the more talented team. This really, I'm looking at this as like a let's see it for Gentlemates. The addition of Eugen, again, I'll repeat it because it's worth repeating, is massive. I think he's a great player. But Seiko and Juicy should be showing up for this. Tokyo Tigers are going to lose to Team BSK. Synergy are going to beat JJ Rocks. BDS are going to send BSK home. Good result for BSK. They'll be back to another top 16, I think, here soon. And I'm going to have GK rolling over Synergy. So that is our top 8. Let's move on down to our playoffs. All right. You guys ready for this? Look, I'll say it now, and I already, like, in the comments below, I can feel it. My spidey senses touching my magic 8 ball, my crystal ball, letting me look forward. I can already see the comment that's like, what? You don't have this? Are you insane? Look, if you want me to just like power rank these teams and have them land as they should, I'm sure there's other creators that can do that. You can go do that exercise yourself. These aren't just going to go exactly how we think they're going to go all the time. So let's dive in. Let's do our uppers first. Excuse me for the wrong click. I have Vitality over Gentlemates, and I'm going to go Dignitas crushing over Karmine Core. It's fun. It's spicy. I think it's realistic. Dignitas really want to come out and prove that they are still a major team here. I think that they are a smart team. They're a well-coached team. I think they're going to handle business. This is the kind of matchup for Karmine Core where it's like, man, like it's going to be really close. They've played them before. It was not super close, but don't forget that was Dignitas after they had beat Vitality, and then they roll into that. Karmine Core ended up beating them pretty handily here. Karmine Core are awesome. They have the potential to be a dynasty. I talked about them with Corelli on my podcast about how they could end up being one of the better teams of all time. Of course, it was kind of conjecture. We'll wait and see, but they're not like completely untouchable. I mean, Wildcard took them 5 in Birmingham. Not the best example in the world. They end up rolling. I think that there's a little bit of like, okay, we just won this major. Like, let's give ourselves a little bit of a break here and kind of come back into this. It doesn't mean that I think Karmine Core isn't the best team in the world. And I'm actually going to show you something with this exercise in a second, but let's run through a couple other things here real quick. I'm going to go Ninjas 4-2 over BDS. Strong start here for this BDS roster to get a top 8. put you in a good spot if you're trying to vie for those Raleigh major spots. Although I don't really know if the roster's there quite yet. And then we're going to go 4-3 GK over 100%. This one's always close. 100% owns this series score 2-1 from split one. And they were close matchups. So I'm going to have GK there. I think these are the 6 best teams in the world for what it's worth. Highlighter green matchup, I'm going to go Ninjas in a close one. I'm going to go Karmine Core being very, very mad and demolishing GK Esports. And then let me show you this, right? If we go the other direction with this, and this is 3-4, I'm concerned about Dignitas in this GK matchup, like quite concerned. And then I really like this one for Karmine because we just saw them beat Ninjas. But just that small switch, and I'm going to stick with this, makes this way more interesting. I do think that these are the top 4 teams right now. I am going to go there just because, not just because, but the bottom line is I think that this Ninjas team struggled to get together cohesively in these playoffs from split one there. Although, you know, you could argue that they're the better team than Dignitas. This is going to be a great matchup. I would love to watch this. And then here, am I really going to do this? But it's like, is Karmine Core really going to lose twice in an event? I don't know, man. What if you wanted to just like tune in and it's just Karmine Core every time? I guess I could do that. I could. But I think that this is realistic. I think that Vitality are coming out looking to make a statement going into this next split here. I don't think that this is inconceivable by any measure. These teams have played tight. Vitality have the firepower and the ability to beat Karmine Core. Although I will say that it's seemingly there's been a mental block so far. I stand by my decision. And if this is the final matchup, I think that it's going to be Vitality beating up on Dignitas to really plant their flag as, yes, we are one of the best teams in the world. We are on a warpath here for Raleigh. So that is my event. Let's scroll over here and show you guys this breakdown really quick. Feel pretty good about it. You could slice these top 4 anyway, in my opinion. And I do think that now that I'm looking at it, I think this is a fairly accurate power ranking of where the teams are. Of course, Karmine Core number 1, but then Vitality, Dig, Ninjas, Gentlemates, GK, BDS, 100%. Yeah, that all feels pretty good. I'd probably move Synergy up here. I'd probably move Smoky Bacon up here a little bit. But yeah, guys, really excited for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Who are you most excited to watch this weekend? All right, that's it for me, guys. I'm going to go watch a ton of Daniel footage for a video that I'm poking around on here. Until next time, guys, take it easy.